Be'ez Hashem Parshas Lech Lecha Tovshin Pei Dalet. Being that Klal Yisrael, and Eretz Yisrael especially, is going through rough times, we'll start with an email. Person is writing questions, and this is a time that we could try to apply the concepts of Bitochen that we're trying to steig and learn. So we'll read the email. Here it goes. A person is writing, I'm struggling very much and I wonder if you can help me. We are in this frightening war situation here in Eretz Yisrael, saying Tillim day and night, trying to live higher and take the Musar Hashem is sending us. However, the conversations that go on in my brain are dragging me down. This is what they are saying. So conversation 1, conversation 2. Conversation number 1. See all the Nisim Hashem has done. How so many Shem Shabbos were not harmed. So the mind is saying that should give chizik. Yes, that's amazing, but don't hope too much. Maybe there are more terrible things in store. Maybe the din is not over yet. Then the person says, okay, but I'm an Eved Hashem. I'm trying to be better. Surely Hashem will have rachmim on me. But then maybe not. Many thousands of Ovdei Hashem were killed and tortured in the Holocaust, even the greatest tzaddikim. Then the mind says, Utzu eitzu v'sufar, dabru dova v'lo yakum ki imonu keil. Or not. Just look at the Holocaust. So many psukim tehillim that talk about how the tzaddikim will not be harmed. Yes, but what about the Holocaust? So this is the back and forth. Back and forth. Should I take chizik that because I'm such a great yid, Hashem is definitely going to save me? Or maybe not, because many times it didn't happen.
You're not reflecting the reality that Shomer Shabbos were all saved, and people that weren't saved weren't tzaddikim. We can't save tzaddikim, and many Shomer Shabbos were harmed.
Yeah, it means it's not reflecting the reality 100%. This is only a conversation in the mind that in this story, many times people that had a schus were saved. But then goes the maybe not. Because there were people, there were Shomer Shabbos that were harmed. So, and also because we don't know the stories behind the Mesiras Nefesh of people, we don't know. Conversation number 2. I'm exactly where I need to be. Hashem has an exact plan and it's good. Even if I must face terrible suffering, it's ultimately good. Ultimately, it's good. After 120, I will see the good. So be calm. But then, I'm so afraid to face terrible suffering. Rahman al-Islam, how can I be calm? Like I'm not calm before a dentist appointment because I know it's going to hurt, even though it's for my own good. I'm afraid of Midas Hadin. So that was the conversation number 2. Then is what machshavas, what thought process could give me calmness and menuchas hanefesh? I'm afraid to hope. Is it possible that tracht gut wird sein gut? Maybe the opposite. What's the story? So let's give a name to these conversations. Conversation number 1 is back and forth. So how does it work? If I'm going to be a tzaddik, then I'm good. But then it doesn't always meet up with the reality and with the history. So mitzadach the psukim say that v'hoyem shamayet ishmu, then you'll have a good life. If I do mitzvahs, if I try to do more chesed, if I'm invested in dvorim toivim, then that's going to save me. But then it's not foolproof. It doesn't calm me down. Why? Because it's not true. But it says in the psukim. So that's the conversation. Number 1 is the tzaddik v'ra'alei, but when you're studying the topic and it's not nigeya, so it's fascinating to learn it. But when a person is in it and they're like trying to understand the future, what's going to be with me, then a person feels the exact opposite of a menuchas hanefesh, because they don't feel that the Torah is giving them that promise. Person is saying, I don't see that I have a promise. I don't see that I could calm myself down because I could be sure. That's conversation number one. Is it true that if I'm a tzaddik or if I do good deeds, I'm going to be saved? Yes or no? And if not, then how am I supposed to calm myself down in that area? Conversation number two is nothing to do with tzaddik. It has to do with Hashem is a Tov Meitiv. He knows what's best. So I can be calm. Tzad Sheni, but it's very, very scary what that could entail. But Tov could mean maybe Tov Anister. And if it could be Tov Anister, I don't want to even think about it. So it doesn't calm me down that the Rebbe Hashem is going to make Tov. It doesn't help me. These are the real questions. Both of them. But when a person is not in it, you can never reach to the bottom of the Yesodis. When it's true, when it's real, when a person is, and this is an opportunity because many people are in the same matziv. So let's try to remember, let's try to review Yesodis of Chovos HaLevavos, which could help us to these real questions. Question number one, the conversation number one. Is it true that the Rebbe Hashem is going to save a tzaddik? And a person could be calm because I'm from the good ones. If I'm from the good ones, then I shouldn't be worried because I'm doing so well. The reason why it's such a complicated question is the Torah gives us a feeling that that's true. If you're going to follow the Torah, you're going to have shalom, and you're going to have bracha, you're going to have parnasa. That's what the Torah gives us that feeling. So it's not coming out of nowhere, this concept. But mitzat sheni, we see time and again that it doesn't work as black and white as it sounds. It doesn't work like that. One of the reasons it's not black and white, Chovos HaLevavos brings many reasons, but one of them is because sometimes the Rebbe Hashem wants to take care of a previous Aveda that Tzaddik had in this world in order, so the Olam Haba, the person should be ready to learn and be able to be clean enough to be able to enjoy Olam Haba, not to have to go through Gehenna and so forth. So that's one of the reasons. So the question is, if a person could never know, and it could be so many reasons why a tzaddik should suffer, Chovos HaLevavos themselves gives five answers, 5 reasons, and that's besides that a person cannot understand the topic.
And the Rambam says if it's true, a person can't know who's a tzaddik, who's a rasha.
And you could never know who's a tzaddik, who's a rasha. And us simple people will always have something to take care of from the past. That's the truth. Ein tzaddik ba'oretz, even grosser mention, but simple people, we all know what's going on in our past, our history. We have to take care. So if that's the case, so it means in a certain sense we're erasing that haftoch of the Torah. We're saying it's just a concept, it's just an idea, but don't count on it. Please, don't be soymach on that. Why? Because you can never know. And there's many reasons why you're supposed to be suffering. So, it's already, we're going to suffer. So why does the Torah say it? Number one. Number two, so does the Torah want we should be calm or not? If the Torah wants us to be with full confidence and simcha and bitachon and emunah, based on what? If we can't base it on this, that's a little bit better to understand this question.
Not a new question.
Not a new question. Parshas HaShavua, Parshas Lech Lecha. Avraham Avinu asked, "Bamo Eida ki Iroshena." How do I know? Based on what can I rely that the Rebbe Hashem is going to give me schar? And then Moshe Rabbeinu asked the question of Tzadik V'Raloi. That was after the Rebbe Hashem says in the Torah, we're setting up a system. If you follow Torah and mitzvahs, you're good. If you don't follow Torah and mitzvahs, then there'll be all kinds of teichacha, all kinds of punishments. And after it's clear cut, Moshe Rabbeinu says, but I found Tzaddik Virale. What's the pshat? And Yirmiyah Novi asked the question. The Chovos always quotes the psukim. So it's not a new question. But here, the shaila is, if you can have a count on it, no matter what, the reason that you can't count on it. You can explain it to me. A person could even understand very clearly why you cannot count on it. So what does the Torah want you to... What's the maskona? What does the Torah want you to take on when you learn the psukim? That what? That it's not negeya? Because the bottom line is there's different ways how to rechen it. So there's many details, there's many pratim. It's not based on one answer. This is conversation number one. First of all, the calmness and the simcha that a person is supposed to develop slowly through avodah is bichlal not that this bad and good, and a person has the images because they experienced and they saw and they heard, so the person has in their mind this option one is option two. Now tell me, if I'm a tzaddik, it's going to be option one. I want a yes or no answer. Yes or no. And not only we can't answer that question, we could also not answer him if he's a tzaddik or rasha. So, but the Torah doesn't want you to phrase the question that way. That's already the mistake. V'yismechu kol choisei boch la'olam iranenu. David HaMelech is in Tilim. The Malbim and different Meforshim on the Pasuk explain the calmness, to be tochen, the simcha of a person. V'yismechu, choisei is people that rely, people that have bitochen. There's a simcha. La'olam iranenu. They're always singing. You know from what on what they're basing it? The Yesod HaDorim is that they're in the Rebbeinu Shalom's hands. That's number one. Not bichlal, looking at the future, writing the future, having images and dimyan, and this could happen, that could happen. There's nothing there. You see the future, no, not option number one, not option number two. You see Rebbeinu Shalom. Toiv. Some people, what helps them is if they have a Gashmi, the image, you could think about, waves, calm, you see the ocean, as something that helps you just, there's nothing, the future is not A or B. This is Rebbeinu Shalom, and I'm in the Rebbeinu Shalom's hands. As long as I'm connected to the thought, to the machshava, that I'm in the Rebbeinu Shalom's hands. This is the Tehillim Kapitel Tzadik Aleph, Yoshev B'Seis Elyon. You're sitting in the lap, that's the taich of the psukim of the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's where I am. Then that's what's giving you the calmness. Every time the moyach is taking you, maybe this, maybe that, that's when you say, Tomim tiyem Hashem alekecha. Al tachkor acha asidis. All I know is that if I'm in the Rebbeinu Shalom's hands, it's good, it's beautiful, it's amazing. It can't be better than that. Everything around the person, the noise and the fear is pulling the person away from remembering that they're in the Rebbeinu Shalom's hands. It's schlepping the person away. A person's avodah is to not get overwhelmed from the information and then putting themselves into the matzah of the Olam Hazeh. Putting themselves into, this guy said that Hezbollah has that many missiles. This guy said this and that. Once you're already in the conversation, that's the problem. There's a famous saying that if a person is arguing with a dumbbell, with someone that's the mistake. Once you found yourself arguing back and forth, you lost. Why were you answering back? He already got you there. He pulled you down. That's the problem. when a person is watching what's going on and listening to what's going on and believing people that don't know what they're talking about, and changing after 15 minutes, they themselves change the gears that they use, and you get sucked in to that thought process, then a person is saying, why are you telling me to think about good? I want to know. Ja, the nicht. Option A, and it's not bechlal true. It's achizas einayim. That's the number one yesod of bitochen. A person is taking their calmness because I'm in the Rebbeinu Shem's hands. That itself. He's taking care of me. Number two, if a person has bitochen, that's a person is constantly thinking, nobody could hurt me, nothing. Gam ki amitz. We have this lashon in the song Ribono Olam Im Yodati. Once a person gets into that mode of bitochen, then we have a yesod that v'abeiteach b'Hashem afilu rosha chesed yisovevenu. That the koyach that bitochen has to save a person doesn't make a difference. His resume. If I'm good, then Hashem is going to say, you're making a mistake. The shmira that a person has, because right now he's beiteach and the Rebbeinu Shalom, he's trusting the Rebbeinu Shalom, and I'm remembering that I'm in the Rebbeinu Shalom's hands. And there's nothing happening not with Hashgacha Pratis. Everything is exact to the time, to the person, how and what. I'm in the Rebbeinu Shalom's hands. The Rebbeinu Shalom has the biggest ahava and biggest achavonis to the person. Once a person remembers that and he's dovok, he's connected to that machshava, then a person has the haftocha of chesed yisovevenu.
Which again isn't necessarily guaranteed. The sets the Rebbe, I'm sure, had such bitachon.
Chesed yisovevenu. We didn't say what that means, because we're once again reviewing. There isn't option A and option B.
It's not a steer to being in the Rebbe's hands.
No,
right?
Not a steer, because when a person, let's go to step number 3. So I just said it as to have that piece of information clear. Don't now say I'm going to be saved if I have a resume. Once a person has bitochen and a right mahalach, he has a moedige shmira, and then he has a shmira. He has to take care of. He has to have. He has to do tshuva, many things. But he's now Yosef. He says that's the capital of Tzadik Aleph. The capital of Tzadik Aleph doesn't say it depends how old you are and who. 1 second, like for yeshiva, you have a smartphone. It doesn't work like that. It works if you're Yosef for real. Then you go into the category of this whole capital. Learn it with the Taich. You'll understand what it says. The whole pasuk with pasuk. Let's go to Yesod number 3. A person has musogim, concepts of what toiv is based on their history. And they don't want b'shum oifen to have different type of toiv. They say, I heard all that. Can I please have the toiv anigla? Give me 2, please. And people have this attitude, even when it comes to Gashmi, it's simple. A person is used to, he had a certain shoe, anything. It was very comfortable. At last it was comfortable, he was good. You come into the shoe store and he wants to offer you something. He says, something just came out, I have to show it to you. It's double the price, of course, but he's telling ganze Sachen and those tchias hamesim. And the person says, I don't know, I was fine till now with this shoe. Can I please have that shoe? When it comes to conversation about toiv and everything is toiv, and so a person says, it could be, but I'm fine. I know what toiv is, so please can I have that toiv? But when a person understands that we're here for a tachlis, we're not here with a goal to be comfortable. It's not a goal. It's a disaster if the person's goal in life was to be comfortable. You can imagine a person at the age of 50 calls his parents and says, I made it in life. I can't believe it. For years, I was hoping and davening and working and sweating. He says, what happened? He says, you have to see my chair. It is so comfortable. and what are you doing? Nothing. I'm comfortable. It's in life, a person is so invested to try to be comfortable, but it's not a goal. The goal is to be able to get to where you're supposed to, which is real tainug. Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba has all tanugim. All tanug. It has, now, the biggest raya to this, the biggest, where a person could see it black and white, when you speak to people that are going through struggle, they're suffering. Just a few hours ago, I was talking to a young man. He's going to be operated tomorrow. His name is Chaim and Keli Tilo Maganza Refuah. He came back again. Not simple. The liver, don't ask. And this young man is speaking with such simcha and with such a madrege, saying, I never felt anything like this, such closeness to the Rebbeinu Shalom. I can't explain you more how much pleasure, the darga of pleasure that I am in because of the situation that I'm in, and I'm not scared. I'm not scared. Whenever I used to suffer panic attacks, when I used to have machshavas in my mind, what's going to happen if, throughout this parasha that he's going through, until I worked through, what are the thoughts that are making me scared? And he told me, if I'm not going to make it, he says, that's the machshava. Every person is going to go to the next world. Every person. A person's supposed to think about it. Now, this person, being that it was true, it wasn't just learning in a shir. And he'd go back and forth and back and forth. He says, I don't have any panic attacks anymore. It used to be by me. I have mole simcha. Now, this is everybody, even people that had nisyonis. They didn't have children for 10 years after they get married. Many situations that I went through. Any person that worked it out, that figured it out, what are the machshavas that are ruining me, that are dragging me down? Why are they wrong? What are the right machshavas instead? And did it again and again and again, hundreds of times, thousands again. What happened afterwards is that all of those people that utilized their nisoyan to do this, the homework, the real homework, afterwards they say, it was hard, but I wouldn't give it up for anything. They all say it. They say, I wouldn't sell it for $10 million. What? I thought you were suffering. Wouldn't you want to erase it? Wouldn't you want to say, don't talk to me about that stage in life. It was hard. Baruch Hashem, don't remind me. No, that's not what they say. What's the pshat? The pshat is that when a person is in a world of musogim, concepts, they know, this is all they know about. Like little children, they know about a tractor. This is like the musik. They know about Purim, I want to be a policeman. They're musogim, what's called exciting, what's called a prize. What's called a prize is limited. Then anything else you want to give them, they say, no. Could I please have that red lollipop? That's what I want. Don't tell me now, cheshbonis. I want to have this. Once a person understands that 1 second, why am I acting like a little child? Why don't I understand and look around that right now, as we speak, There are thousands and thousands of people that have bigger musog in what's called toiv and what's called closeness to Rebbeinu Shalom, and they're having success. Boilam Haza, Boilam Haba. We'll soon elaborate a drop Siyata D'Shmaya. So don't hold on so tight. There's a saying, Hashem's plans are better than your dreams. You're holding on so tight because you're saying, don't talk to me now, Shiurim. I want to have my comfort and my... Stop it already. So, of course, when a person hears horror stories and a person is under the roshim, the impression of trauma in the ear, so a person sometimes doesn't have the kalim, doesn't have the tools right now to be able to comprehend, to be able to understand this. But a person has to disconnect from the machshavas that they brought upon themselves. Little children that hide. Depends on the age, but I'm talking about the real small ones. When they play the game, hide and go seek. So they go back to the same place, in the same game. They go again to that hiding place. Now, what are they doing? What's the yesod behind that? Why are they doing that? Because they could only understand that, so they're going back to that. They can't understand. They try to figure out something else. What's amazing is that every time Hashem does something brand new, like we run 45 people in a second, like that, nobody was able to think, to imagine, this would happen. Like by Chatzois, in the middle of the Adlok Animam, boom. So now we figured it out. We made sure there's gates and there's not too many people, buses, then nothing could happen. Why? Because like Boim is set. Hashem doesn't do the same thing again. This what happened now at the border also never happened. And COVID in the last 100 years also didn't happen since in this generation. I mean, everything once happened. People fell in Miron once upon a time, 110 years before that. And Arabs killed Yidden in Tafresh Peites, and there was Magefis of 100 years ago. But when a person is living in their world of Musagim, the way they react, and this is what's funny, the way they react is, okay, so now I'm locking my doors, because then I'm done. Because I locked my doors. Now nothing could happen, because I locked my doors. So now, no more going to Miron. It's so immature. And it's so not, you're not reacting. Why? Because the thought process that you're having is you're not in touch. I'll explain what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get to something. When a person was dancing on some Historian night in Eretz Yisrael, not knowing, not imagining what a horror is in the middle of developing, the David didn't want that you should know right now. So you were besimcha, you were betochana, you had kiruvah sedekim, and you had emunah, you had all that. While when you were having that, it was in the middle of unfolding the worst. A second later, when right now we're in the middle of a Yeshua. In the middle, the Rebbeinu Shalom should help, and Yidden should have a Yeshua. That's when you're now stuck with the past. Blank. You're now always stuck. But what's going to happen if? But how could it be? Which brings out to us the maskana of a person chaps, that you are the one that's thinking wrong and not rational. The machshavas that you're thinking, and you're saying, don't give me a lomdus, the toiv and nister and things. I want to know, is something going to happen to me? Is a missile going to chas v'shalom hit? This is the Narasha way of thinking. Because now there's no problems of accidents, right? Or plane crashes. No, that's not a problem now. Nothing could happen in that area. Or right now, nobody's davening to the Rebbeinu Shalom. I mean to say, the Hamoinam, yeah? That the Eibusha should help this Nebuch Machlis that don't have a cure, and the Yena Machla. Rebbeinu Shalom, please. Why aren't you davening for that? No. It's not in right now. It's not the going item right now. It's like the other one, The other bracha, the pshat is that a person is working with emotion that he's not being shoyl. Stam emotions. What happened right now, and that he's writing a picture around him. Ki'ilu, that's the reality, and that's what I'm supposed to be scared of. And when you're giving me a shir about bitochen, you try not to be realistic. Ki'ilu, that's realistic. It's not real. It's not true. It's bechlal not true. When a person was davening Rosh Hashanah in Kippur and Sukkot, he didn't know what he was davening for. He had no idea what's waiting, what's coming. Right now, a person also doesn't know. A person has no idea. It's the same mistake that people make. The same mistake that when people they daven to the Rebbeinu Shalom with the whole heart and soul of a business deal should go through, and they're like, I promise you, I'm going to do tzedakah and Torah and tefillah. You can't imagine what I'm going to do. But please, this I need. Now, what's so it's not funny. What's so sad is that right now they're going through a health crisis. Not a child of theirs. They themselves. They're totally in denial because they don't know. And they're like begging to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Hashem is like, if you would just know, maybe you should just plain have in Shmesa all the brachas. Did you think about it? Did you think about it? You never know. And always a person needs to see out the Shema in all areas. That is realistic. That's the emes. That is the emes. So it doesn't bring a person to think, oh, so all Torahs are going to come at once. No, the opposite. A person rises till they're in the Rebbeinu Shem's hands, and the Rebbeinu Shem is always taking me to a better place. And the images and the new concepts, unfortunately, that a person got in their mind, does not change anything in the Musagim of till now. Nothing. Why wasn't the person scared 3 months ago when they were Chodesh of going who knows where? Nothing changed. The person gave a hero tshuva. Oh, that's just reminding a person of the truth, of the reality, what was going on Chodesh of. But the scare that something is going to happen, and specifically based and pointing that that's going to happen, that's nonsense. It's nonsense, and that's why a person is supposed to go back to the Yesodis. The Yesodis is the Rebbeinu Shalom is a toif, and the Rebbeinu Shalom is Ashgocha Protas Medugdekes, and I'm supposed to connect to that I'm in the Rebbeinu Shalom's hands. And what could help a person, I'm going to give something very lemaisidik, practical. When a person would realize the toif that the Rebbeinu Shalom is doing in the day to day, that means they would make a bracha, oh, Baruch Hashem, shkoich, they make a bracha of Hoshes. And then again, they would have a certain success story. They were trying to have a conversation with one of their children. Baruch Hashem, it went smooth. They davened before and they thanked afterwards. They would feel the closeness in hundreds of areas every day. Oh, Baruch Hashem. And then they would go to the next area in their life that they need Siyata D'Shmai. The normal things. They would feel so close, and they have such Siyata D'Shmai. They would realize that Hashem is right now giving me life and giving me food and giving me nachas and giving me all those things. Okay, so whatever is the rest. I just rely. They wouldn't go into detail. A young man just shared with me that he was once on the bus with a very chashuv yid of Bnei Brak. And that chashuv yid of Bnei Brak, one of his big Talmud Chacham, and that person trained himself, but for real. I mean, it became part of him, that every few minutes, 24 hours, I mean, when he's up, every few minutes, he talks to the Rebbeinu Shalom about the next step that he's trying to do. That means, thank you, Rebbeinu Shalom, Baruch Hashem, till now. And he talks, I'm going to need to now take care of kach v'kach. If you could please, Rebbeinu Shalom, help. Thank you for the past. Every step in the day, he has a conversation, very calm, short conversation with the Rebbeinu Shalom. How do you say it? In parentheses, just a few weeks ago, he was in the States, and he was hospitalized. He went through a procedure, and he sent to his Rebbe in Eretz Yisrael a skora he should have him in Zinnen. That what? That he should be Matzlich and Shmir Sinai hospital. That was the number one. And the one that was with him told me that everything was men, nurses, and everything worked out. Yeah, everything worked out. That was he wanted to stay Ogehitan. But back to this story that this young man shared with me, he said that he was traveling they went on to a bus. It was Erev Yom Tov, one of the Yom Tovim, and they traveled to Yerushalayim. The bus is from Newark to Yerushalayim in the afternoon, Erev Yom Tov. Whoever experienced that, it might be bigger trauma than before. And there was traffic, and he asks the senior man that told me the story, sitting next to him. He says, "Well, do you think we're going to make it to be in Yerushalayim? Because I have a drasha at 5. I have to give a drasha for this community at 5 o'clock." He looks, he takes a glance. He says, "I don't think so, because the traffic and Erev Yom Tov doesn't." And then he hears him saying, "Rabbi Shem, thank you that I made the bus. If you could please help me, I should get to Yerushalayim 10 to 5 because I still have to put on Rabbeinu Tam's film." Like, this is a story. And I should do it 10 to 5, and then I should be by the drasha because there's a tzibur waiting for me. And they start driving, and then there's a pkak. They're inching up. And he's again, thank you that I got till you, but if you could, I need to be 10 to 5. The young man says, "I can't forget it. We touched base in Yerushalayim, 4:50. He says, every time he davened, I don't know, it started moving. He says, what the cherry on the top was that my friend got onto a bus 45 minutes before us, got to Yerushalayim the same time." Now, when a person lives like that, it's so calming. They just reinforcing that the Rebbeinu Shalom is here. They're not saying it when they get scared. That's the concept. A person gets up in the morning, they say, "Oh, Baruch Hashem, my eyes, it's working slowly. It's there in the Siddur. If we would just connect and be excited. Baruch Hashem, I got another day, I'm alive, I could sing, I could thank the Rebbeinu Shalom, I could daven, I could learn, I could do mitzvahs." But that does to a person in the subconscious that they're in touch. It's not much different that when you have sometimes let's say 2 months that you didn't speak to someone, and like wondering if they have something against you. And the more the time goes by, it could really get sticky. Nothing major happened. It's just that, I don't know. I guess I don't mean any more to him. He doesn't care. He got too busy to think about me. And if you make sure that such things shouldn't happen, there's always a flow of conversation. The friendship, the closeness is so tight. With the Rebbeinu Shalom, once a person is like, I don't know, I didn't get to talk to him the last few weeks. What's going on? Then what happens is that a person has to have a whole yisoid of emunah bitochen that the Rebbeinu Shalom is toiv and the Rebbeinu Shalom remembers. He can't remember that he's in the Rebbeinu Shalom's hands. But if you realize that you had 10 nisim today, a person feels that the Rebbeinu Shalom is taking care of them, and they're just fine. The Rebbeinu Shalom is taking care of me. They experience it today. That's what happened. That's the real mahalach of a person being beiteach in the Rebbeinu Shalom. And the person not trying to figure out what's going to happen. The person not trying to dictate what should happen, not with tilim and not with tears and not with. They're doing tshuva because they feel that's the right thing, because they want to be close. They got a reminder, but they feel so safe because they're in touch. So if it's fake, that means they're not really in touch. They're not really thanking. Not really thinking about their relationship. They're doing whatever they want. Then it's just not going to work. It means you're not going to be matzliach to have real bitachon. You're not going to be successful to have this real feeling that calms you down. But if it's going to be real by thanking and realizing, then what's going to happen is you're good. Baruch Hashem. And we found people. You're saying people in the Holocaust. That was written in the email, and it was mentioned here. The Eish Kodesh just now was the yahrzeit of the Chovetz HaTalmidim. Those people, first of all, until the last minute, they were so uplifted with simcha, with tainuk. And as we have saw in that country, the Rameh Shapira that was nifta at the age of 47 and didn't have children, but he told the Bacham and Yeshiva that what they should sing, Nagunam of Bitochen. He had such a beautiful life. He had struggles, but the way he left this world was so gorgeous. This takes us to another part of this conversation, which is super important. I'm going to first quote Toldus Yaakov Yosef, Parashas Noach, and then let's a little bit understand how it's negeya also for this conversation. The Toldus mentions the Rambam that we spoke last week, that the schar for mitzvahs is an olam haba. So why does the Torah say you'll have a good olam hazeh? So the Rambam says that if you do mitzvahs, you're going to be free to be able to invest yourself in learning, so you're going to have more olam haba. If not, then you're just going to be stuck busy with details and nonsense, returning phone calls and trying to issues that come up constantly. You're just going to be doing that all life, and you're not going to get to learn, not going to get to have olam haba. So the Tolus adds, and he says, "V'chein shamati," and I heard, "Kedusha in the past, the Yetzer Hara would only work on pushing a person away that the person shouldn't get olam haba, but olam hazeh they enjoyed. But now, today's days, the Yetzer Hara got smarter to be able to take away from a person their olam hazeh and their olam haba. How? So the Yetzer Hara takes a person and makes them be torud in parnasa yom v'layla. They get busy and they have no menucha and they have no time to invest in Torah and learning and mitzvahs, so that they're not enjoying life, not in olam hazeh and not in olam haba. So he says, "Ukamaymer achocham," a saying, a smart saying is, "Shol es echad." The chocham asked someone that was always busy with his business. So he once asked him, "Tell me, where do you get to after all that? I'm seeing you busy with the bank, in and out." And so he said, "No, I'll tell you the truth. I didn't get there yet. I'm like 10 years, but I'm still up to nowhere." So he told him, if in the area where you're so invested you didn't get to anywhere, imagine what's going on to your olam haba. You're not even working on it because you're so busy with the olam hazeh. He says the Chacham told him, if it would have been the opposite, that for you would have. He says, if you would have had one of the worlds, but now you have nothing. He says that's docha de chisani limpol. He says docha is two. So this is a concept. There's something behind this. It's not only that if a person gets too busy with his business, it's much more that when a person is living a wrong mahalach in life, sometimes they think, okay, the olam haba will worry about a different time, but lefachot, let me have olam hazeh. And the emes is that they're so wrong. They're so wrong because they're not having olam hazeh at all. The people that are living right, they're having an olam hazeh. Happens to be they're having olam haba too, but they're enjoying life. The emes enjoying life, and this is said to any area where a person is wrong. It's the same concept where you could sometimes see a person that's going to be stingy and never want to do a chesed and never want to give any of his money and never want to, and he watches other people that give away and he says, okay, listen, the guy could give away all his money. Okay, it's his choice. It's his choice. But I don't know what this guy is going to be doing when he's going to get older. I don't know what he's thinking about his children. He's just committing suicide with his money. That's fine. That's fine. But I'm not going to do that. And he is bitter and not enjoying life. And the person that's giving is just so living it up. He's just not in touch. Not in touch. As an example, the Simchas HaChaim that Rabbi Avigdor Miller had, he enjoyed life to its best. Every minute, not once a half a year, every minute, once again, he thanked the Rebbe and he realized things, and he was mechadish, and he, Baruch Hashem, had arichas yomim, healthy, and children, and nachas. But he was enjoying every minute. Every minute he was enjoying life. When a person has olam haba, they should be having olam haza. It goes together. It goes together. It's not choose olam haba over olam haza. Big mistake. They're one of the biggest mistakes. So you were asking, what's with the big tzaddik? What's with the Choves HaTalmidim there in the Holocaust? Well, read the Torahs that he said in the ghetto, until Tafshin Dalet. What type of life did the Choves HaTalmidim have? Much better than your comfort. This is proven. This is not something that's a concept. This is a fact. Look, the language of Tanugim that he's writing in his Svarim, many Svarim. Mevoy Hashorim, Tzav Veziris, Achshor, Tzav Rechem. Now they found the Eish Kodesh, all of them. He's living it up to its peak, till the last minute. The Yeshiva Das. Even what's printed in Kovetz Yom, the Rebbe Chonan, he said, okay, now we're a korban, and everybody should make sure to think right machshavas, like a mensch. Every person anyways leaves the world. And the fact if a person has 120 years, 90 years, all the others is not in the hands of a person anyways. Always. Just now, Nebuch, a child passed, a 70-year-old bocher, gewaltige choshev bocher, just from 1 minute to the next. We should know from Tzoras, but just the Mitzias, the doctors afterwards said he had a valve, he had a vein that he was born with, that usually a person could only live till 12. It doesn't. He lived till 17, almost 18. He became a Bar Chiyuva, and he'd fill and mitzvahs and geschmack and learning and davening or whatever. Nobody knew before, nobody knew the second, and it's all the time. So it's not supposed to scare a person. It's not supposed to scare a person. It's supposed to remind the person of a reality. I think Rabbi Avigdor used to say that when you see an old person, that's the malach. That's supposed to be more a person much more. But there's nothing. It's only painful. It's only horror. It's only scary when a person doesn't develop the normal mahalach hamachshavas. A person connected with glue. This is terrible and scary, and it shouldn't have. And I can't think about it. I don't want to go there. And then they live all their life with those mistakes, and they're not living their life. In the biography of Rabbi Avigdor, they say the last few weeks when he knew what's happening, he knew that this is his last few weeks. He was chazering. He didn't have time. He said, I still have to finish Masechtas Bava Metzia. And he wrote down 7 points of the Ketores HaChodesh, and that's what he wants to review in the last few days. Every time in the hospital, last few days, he had a few minutes. This is the one you saw. Then he was thinking to enjoy life, enjoy it. Now, a person should know, back to the first Yesod, that if a person finds themselves with machshavas that scare them, machshavas that take away the Yeshiva Das, and all the rest, they should know that's a mistake. Baruch Hashem, that a situation came that could bring me to the truth, to work this out. Hey, this is not work. You have to work this out. Why does a person get so scared? Once again, because look what happened to the tzaddikim in the Holocaust. Look what happened to that one. Look what happened. What happened to them? You tell me what happened to them. Nothing happened to them. You with the musagim that you're so limited, are having the biggest rachmanas and scare and horror about something that they didn't experience. They didn't experience that. They enjoyed every minute till then and then. They enjoyed. They lived. Once we know the Eben Ezer Ramban of Tchisa Meisim and weiter lebt man. So there's nothing to be a pachat. The pachat is always of the unknown. So sometimes the unknown is the future. Sometimes the unknown is area that wasn't worked out. I don't understand it. That's what brings pachat to a person. Once a person understands it, they don't have pachat to it. I'm in the Baruch Hashem's hands. So this could be a beginning of a homework, of a process that a person is supposed to review to be able to get to live a real life. It's true that certain areas we have so many targets to still work out, but it's supposed to help a person understand where they're wrong and replace it with the right thought process to the extent that now they're in a different matzav, and it always works. That's called learning Torah. Learning Torah means replacing wrong machshavas with right machshavas until it becomes part of you, until it becomes the norm. When a person finds themselves, they have opportunity to rebuild themselves. The biggest limud Torah that's possible is to change these thought processes.
Hashem li lo yira.
Hashem li lo yira. Ma yaseh adam li.